Go ahead.
Good evening and live from the Shipwreck Studios in sunny Burbank, Illinois, where spring has sprung and summer is almost here and the weather is gorgeous today. We are the Not Podcast, episode 1. And this is going to be kind of weird. So we're officially logging this as episode 1. But we do have a bunch, and I mean a bunch, of episodes we will be releasing that were tests for us to learn how to do this, to learn how to congene together. To blend as one brain.
Stop using big words.
Yeah,
it hurts.
I should not use big words. But so we're going to call this episode 1. Tonight's starting topic is if you're in Chicago, it's a lot going on, man. We just had the Crosstown Classic with the Chicago White Sox and Chicago Cubs.
The Blubs.
Or as we call them, the Chicago Schlubs. But, you know, I guess we're Sox fans, so, yeah, we're a little biased. But it was a great series.
Sox win the series 2-1.
Sox finally won the series. It's kind of like of what I can relate. The Sox Cubs series for us White Sox fans has been kind of like if you're a Bears fan with the Bears Packers rivalry.
Pretty much.
It's been brutal. It's been absolutely brutal. The Cubs since like 2005 have just handed it to us. But we got them this weekend. So
well, it's like the
cool.
hammer and the nail rivalry. The nail never wins.
The nail never wins.
Right. So, yeah. And they won yesterday in dramatic fashion.
Very dramatic fashion.
Like it.
And they gave them a good old-fashioned mud hole stomping in the keister the day before, and then they got their ass handed to them the first game. So, yeah, it was definitely exciting. It's good to see good baseball back in Chicago. The White Sox, I went to a game, not the Crosstown Classic game, because I won't go to those anymore, because people can just be total dicks.
Yes.
But I went to the Kansas City Royals game. And as a Sox fan, I haven't been to a game now probably in at least 2, possibly 3 years, maybe 2 years. I have not been to a game. There is a different vibe in the park right now. There's a different vibe, a different ambiance in the air. Not that this team's going to the World Series or anything like that, but I think the train has been picked up and righted and put on the right track again. Lots of young players, and I'm not claiming to be like Mr. Sports Knowledge because I probably can't name any of them. I mean, there's the Japanese guy that we just got, and there's some Italian kid that's really good, and there's a kid from Indiana. I don't even know their names. Montgomery, I think, is one of them. But these guys are baseball players, and you could tell they've come up through the system, and they're hungry. And it's just a good vibe. It's a really good vibe. So if you're a Sox fan, it is an exciting time to be a Sox fan because I think we're finally righted the ship.
Well, with that being said, I don't understand anything about baseball. I was a baseball coach for my kids, but I shouldn't say I don't understand anything about baseball. I just don't know too much about the major leagues. I watch it occasionally, but it's one of those games that if there's not enough action, I will fall asleep. And by the 6th inning, I'm usually snoring like a baby.
You know, that's sports, though. Honestly, that's kind of like what sports is about for a little bit. Like, I'll watch a baseball game, and sometimes I'll fall asleep, like you said, the 6th inning, you know, and then I usually wake up at the 7th when they're doing the take me out to the ball game. It's like, what's going on? You know, with one eye open. But NASCAR does the same thing. Like I'll watch like a Talladega race, and I'll fall asleep in the middle of the race and wake up with like 20 laps to go and be like, yes, but I missed all the action.
Right.
You know, sports is, you know, there's this thing that was invented years ago called the lazy boy chair. That is just
it's named that for a reason.
It is the greatest invention ever. I sleep better in that chair than I do in my own bed.
I believe that. I don't know why. I fall asleep in my chair all the time. In fact, my kid come in and say, "Good night, Dad," or whatever at 2:00 in the morning. I wake up and I have got the controller for my game in my hand. Game just sitting there doing nothing.
Guy spinning in circles.
Yep.
So, but yeah, baseball for me is it's just it's not exactly boring, but it isn't exactly fun. When you're coaching it, it's a lot different. You're on top of things. You know where everyone's at.
Well, we tried to be.
Yeah. Well, you also try to know where everybody's at too.
Yeah.
All right. Where the
Jimmy's
hell
out there
Jimmy's?
picking flowers or whatever.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy was at first base and caught a ball in left field. I don't know how he did that, but he did it.
And ran it all the way back into the pitcher's mound.
Yeah.
So you guys had the pleasure of coaching guys. I coached girls for 10 years.
Yeah, that's rough.
And, yeah, that was. I mean, you know what? It's really cool because when they're young, when they're like 8 to 12, they're like the most attentive players. They're hungry. They're aggressive. Honestly, I would have put my 10 and 12 year teams up against any boys team any day of the week, man, because I truly believe my girls were tougher than half the dudes out there.
Definitely half the team that we had, usually.
Yeah. But then they hit those teen years, and everything changes for girls and girl sports. The boyfriends start coming around. The focus gets less. They start thinking about, you know what, I could not do this softball thing and get a job and actually buy the makeup and all the stuff I want and the Gucci bags or the Coach purses or whatever they want, and they start dropping off at like that 14-year mark. And if you have them last till 18, man, you're blessed. You're truly blessed. But yeah, that's where I got my baseball knowledge was trying to be a coach. And then I played when I was a little kid, but I had bad coaches that ruined baseball for me.
I don't remember my coaches.
I do.
I never played baseball.
I played for the Gage Park Mets, and I had this guy, Coach Letourneau, who was a total douchebag. And
Hi, Coach.
I remember after the season, the real coach, wanted me to come back, and he's like, we really want you to come back. And I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm retiring.
I'm officially retired.
And what was funny was I went on to play like unscripted ball, and I was a total badass. It was like I would go to the batting cages, and people would be like, "How the hell do you hit the ball like that?" It's like you just put the bat on the ball. And when I coached, I actually used to tell my girls, I'm like, hitting girls, get this out of your head. This is the easiest part of the game. All you have to do is touch the bat to the ball. And that was my philosophy. And I think my dad told me that. All you got to do is touch the bat to the ball. Not hard. So you go into it with that mindset that it's not hard, and you just put the bat on the ball, and good things happen. So
yeah, I was never a great batter, but when I did hit the ball, it went, and I was so confused I didn't know whether I should go or not. Because I actually, in my about third season playing Little League, I smacked a line drive, and let the center fielder look like he was ready until he went over the fence with the ball in his forehead.
Wow.
I bet you was ready then.
Oh, he was ready then. He was ready to go to the hospital. That's what he was ready for. And I didn't know whether I should run or not because I just knocked a kid out of the damn park.
Oh, at that point, you could just walk.
Well, the coach, here's the problem. The coach is yelling at me to run. Why bother? There's a kid over there who needs an ambulance.
Right. It's going to be a while. I could walk.
Yeah.
I never played Little League. I never played sports at all, except, around the neighborhood and with the guys, my friends and whatnot. So I kind of lived through Tyler when he was in football and baseball, and we coached him. And
yeah, but the thing is, you probably had more fun because it was, like Ed said, unscripted.
With my buddies and that?
Yeah.
I mean, we would do so much shit to people like that. Occasionally, we had like this group of guys that we would play baseball and whatever with, and we would come across guys that lived on the opposite. It was like the border where I lived was Columbus Manor School,
right,
which is the school we went to. So we were on one side, and all the other guys were on the other side, and we used to always play like Indian ball. And Indian ball is basically baseball, but you don't run bases. You got like boundaries where if the ball gets past this guy in a certain spot, it's a single, blah, 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 whatever. And the guys on the opposite side of the school would always go up to the field, and if we met them up there, just by chance, we'd always be playing them. And it was like we were in Little League. It was like blood and guts, no holds barred, It doesn't matter. Tons of shit talking. And this is like when we were 9.
Yep.
Same thing with football. We'd always meet guys up somewhere where we were going to play, and we are like, all right, well, we'll play you. And then, we'll just kick the shit out of you.
Yep. Yeah, those were the days, man. Well, we used to use, I grew up in the city on the south side. We used to use the corner. So one corner would be home, one would be first, then to be second, then to be third. And then the outfield was the old lady's house that she would come out screaming at you that you were going to break her window, and she was scared to death about you breaking her windows.
And then you broke her window.
No, we never broke a window. We
really
never broke a window. We hit the house, but we hit the roof one time, and I think we knocked some shingles off. But but we never broke a window.
I used to when I got older, I moved to Oak Lawn when I was 7 years old. So the only experience I had in Chicago was when I was too little to be playing ball. But I would go to my aunt's house, which lived right by your. Yes. Shut up.
Oh, sorry.
I smacked a weight off your ass. Which was by your house at 63rd and Troy.
Okay.
And they would play street ball. And that had a whole new meaning because at my house, you wouldn't see a car for a week unless somebody was coming home from work.
Right.
And, you had cars parked all in the street, and you guys, like you said, you'd play on the corners. I'm like, what the hell kind of baseball is this?
Oh, it's even funner when you play football in the street.
Yeah,
you're like, okay, you're going to run this route. All right, you're going to go 20 feet, and you're going to run right in front of the 72 Maverick.
Do a
and then I'm going to put the ball
right
in your chest, and then hit it to the pickup lateral to the Volkswagen, and then we're going to score. Yeah, those are a whole different set of rules, man.
So I got a story about that one. So in the neighborhood, we used to have like no curbs. We still have ditches with like the drainage going underneath our things.
I remember that.
So then at one point the village is like, we're going to upgrade. So they put in curbs, they put in like paved, no more ditches. They kind of widened it a little, took the ditches out or whatever. So now we can play football for real, because if before we were playing football, it was grass, street, ditch, and you had to go up and down the hill to get out of the ditch and then do whatever route you were going to. So now we don't have no more ditches. So this one time we're playing football in the street. We didn't have too many cars parked on the street. And the lady that lived next door to me, my grandparents' house where I lived, were friends with my grandparents like forever. But she was always a bitch to us kids. Like, we'd play hide and go seek, we'd run through a hopper fence or whatever, and we weren't like wrecking anything, and she'd always come out and bitch or come out and tell my grandparents or whatever. So we didn't do it on purpose. She was standing in her driveway talking to one of the other neighbors, and we're already been playing football in the street. So somebody tells one of the guys, do a button hook around the lady, and as soon as you come out of the curl, I'll hit you, and you'll be wide open. So hikes the ball, does a button hook. He gets right in the beginning of him breaking out of it, and this kid launches one and hits her right square in the face and fucking knocks her glasses off.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, shit, I am not going to hear the end of this from my grandparents. And she was like, oh, it's okay. I think she got knocked loopy because there was no way in the hell she would normally ever say that. But she shouldn't have been sitting there talking. It was fucking hilarious.
Well, that'll teach her.
Another time, might have been like the day before that. This one kid that used to always hang out with us, but nobody really liked him. He was just like a neighbor of ours, so it was kind of like he was there. His mailbox was on like a cast iron piping, and then it branched out, and then across the street neighbor's mailbox was on it. Across the street neighbor's mailbox was the normal size mailbox. His was like you could fit a car in it.
Nice.
And it was solid, like it was cast iron or something, right? So he's running down the side, and somebody threw him the ball, and he catches it. And as soon as it touched his hands, he turned around. It was like a linebacker hit him, and he hit head first square into his mailbox and knocked his ass out. Put a big dent in his mailbox, and his dad came out. He's like, "What the hell are you doing? Look at my mailbox. You put a big dent." He didn't give a shit about his kid.
No. Dad's in the day. Nope.
Oh, no. You broke his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Street ball. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to play tackle football in the street, and people would be like, "You guys are crazy," and it's like, "No, this makes you tough." That's when you try out for high school ball, you're going to be tough.
I'll tell you what, you fall down and scrape your knee and start crying in front of your boys. Oh man,
yeah.
It was on like, yeah.
You got the pussy label for the rest of your life.
What's wrong with you, man?
You didn't cry, but like the next you did like one more play, and then you're like, oh man, I gotta get in real quick. I have to go. I'll be back in a little bit, and then you go in and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Hiding the pain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, go over the handlebars on your bicycle.
Oh, I've done that many times.
Well, back in the day, I got hit by a bike. I got hit on my bicycle on 59th and Kedzie. Dude made a no turn on red and just plowed me, crushed my bike, crushed me. I got up, my leg was bleeding. I looked around. I'm like, oh shit. I looked at my bike. My bike was trashed. I ran home. The dude, I didn't even stop to say like, hey, you hit me. I just ran home. Well, I put my bike in the basement, went upstairs, went in the bathroom, cleaned up my leg, washed my leg real good, got all the gravel out of it from road rash and all that shit. And I was sitting in the basement, and all of a sudden I hear the doorbell ring, and my mom's like, what? And she's like, Ed, are you here? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like going frantically screaming. I'm like, I'm downstairs. What's going on? She's like, did you get hit by a car? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, the guy's here that hit you. I'm like,
I'm going to die.
I'm like, oh.
Does he have money?
Yeah. No, I didn't even think about money.
That's what it'd be like today.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. I was like, I'm going to be in deep shit because this guy hit me. It was always going to be my fault.
Fucked.
My bike is fucked. So the guy comes. He's like, young man. He goes, are you okay? Do you need to go to the hospital? Do you need to get checked out? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And I put like sweatpants on, and he's like, can I see your leg? And I'm like, sure. And it was like all, road rash. It was just road rash, nothing major. And my elbow, I think my forearm was a little scraped up and stuff from when I hit the ground. And he's like, well, is your bike okay? And I'm like, yeah, no.
It's a pretzel right now.
And he's like, well, here's my number. And he gave my mom and everything his info. And he's like, take your bike to the bike shop. If it can't be fixed, I'll buy a new bike, the same bike he had. And so we brought it to the bike shop, and the bike shop fixed it, and he paid the bill, and everything was good. And my dad was like, you're not going to get in trouble you got hit by a car. What were you thinking? And I'm like, I just didn't want anybody to get pissed at me because I got hit by a car. He's like, but you got hit by a car. And he's like, the guy admitted he turned he blew the no turn on red and plowed into you. I'm like, oh, well.
Well, back in the day, we would get in trouble for everything.
Oh yeah.
It was our fault.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. We'd get our ass beat, and the only saving grace for you was you got your ass beat by a car.
Right. Yeah. It was like, yeah.
Oh man,
those are the days.
I never got hit by a car, but man, I went over the handlebars a few times.
Oh yeah.
My mom used to send us for milk and everything, and the gas station that we would go to we had two options. One was like 2 blocks away, and the other one was like 4 blocks away. But we always ended up having to go to the furthest one because my mom went, it's cheaper over there, and you can get my cigarettes. Okay. So on the way there, behind this car dealer was this great big hill. And at the time, I was in the BMX team, and we used to do trick jumps and everything else. And we were the start of the BMX world. That's how old I am. But anyway, I went flying up this hill. I went straight up, and then at the peak of the jump, I went from straight up to going straight down, and I'm coming at the ground. Picture this. I'm facing the ground head first, feet straight up in the air. The bike is still with me. The bike has not left. Well, I had enough time to think in the air that when I hit the ground, I'm going to get hit by this bike. So when I did, I put my arm out, and when I put my arm out, I pushed off the ground, and I kicked the bike in the air and kicked the bike away. This jackass goes, could you do that again? Right now, my elbow is in my fucking ass.
Yeah.
No. So I went to the gas station, got the gallon of milk, and I put the gallon of milk in my arm because it was hurting so bad. I never broke it, but I don't know what I did to it. By the time I got home, I started out with my arm straight down along my side. By the time I got home, I was holding a milk like this.
Wow.
My arm just went, we're not doing this today. So I walked in, I put the milk on the counter. My mom goes, what the hell's wrong with your arm? Nothing. Hi.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh, God. I remember back in the day when you would get hurt, you would not tell your parents you got hurt.
God, no.
Because you were going to get hurt again for getting hurt.
Right.
And I remember we were playing hide or seek.
You're bleeding on my carpet.
Oh, yeah. No shit. And so I was running through this gangway, and this little old lady who was kind of a bitch in the neighborhood, she used to take her hose turning thing, the hose key off. And when we would run through, you would hit yourself. Well, I hit myself pretty good. I mean, I still got a scar from this one, 7 stitches. And so when I hit this thing, I looked at my arm, and it was just a little trickle of blood coming down the side, but it was like meat hanging out of the other part. I'm like, shit. I'm like, now I got to go home. And so I go in the house. I literally pull my T-shirt down to cover it, okay? I walk into the bathroom, and I put like 4 bandages on it. And like to cover it up, and I kind of like stuck it together, and I put the bandages on it. And I'm walking out. My mom goes, "What'd you do? Did you cut yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah, I scraped myself on one of those hose nozzle things." And she's like, "Let me see it." And I'm like, "Oh, I already put a Band-Aid on it." And she's looking at it, and she's like, "You used 4 Band-Aids on it." I'm like, "Yeah." And then there was still like the line of blood that was running from it. She's like, "Take those bandages off." Well, she just about gagged when the bandages came off, because now it pulled like more meat out of my arm. And she's like, "We need to take you to the hospital. You need stitches." I'm like, "The fuck you are?" I'm like, "No, we're not. We're not doing that." And that was my first time getting stitches.
I had, I was probably 16 years old, and I wanted to have a basement bedroom because it was cool at the time.
Ah, yes.
So my father required me to build the room, which I did. I was in the, carpentry at this point. I was already a bricklayer for 2 years. So I built the bedroom in my room, and my dad says, "Well, I think you should put some shelving up so you have place to put some stuff." So he goes out to the Menards and he buys these metal shelving brackets and metal arms, and you guys know how I am. It has to be perfect. Okay.
No.
Yep. So each one of those arms has a sticker on it. And I don't understand to this day, why do you put a sticker on something that you can't get the sticker off?
Yep. My pet peeve.
Oh, I hate it. So
there is a chemical called Goo-Gone, though.
Yeah, but this was before Goo-Gone.
Oh.
Yes. Then you use gas.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I blew myself up.
Remember turpentine.
Turpentine. I drank that stuff for a living.
My dad used to always have a gallon of turpentine.
So I was taking a straight edge blade, and I was holding the bracket just like this, and I was scraping. Of course, I was scraping in the wrong direction.
Not towards you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was definitely towards me. So I slipped off the sticker, and the blade went into my finger. You can still see the...
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can verify.
I went so deep with that blade that I touched the bone, and the bone went,
The bone went.
Oh, yeah, when you hit the bone, that's not good.
It's in the bone.
So I grabbed my hand, and my dad says, "All right, let me see it." So I show him. He goes, "Okay." My dad's thing was hot, soapy water. "All right, go upstairs and wash that off with hot, soapy water. I'll be up there in a minute." Great. What do you got to do? Clean up the mess? So I go upstairs, and of course, I'm chicken shit. I'm turning on the cold water. Hot, soapy water and a cut that deep. Yeah, so I'm up there, and I'm going all around the wound with the soap, so it looks like I'm washing my hand.
This?
He goes, yeah, around every bit of it. And he says, "Wash that damn hand." Okay, at this point, the pain's going to be worse if I don't wash it.
Right.
So I'm washing this thing, and I'm washing, and he says, "Okay, let me see it." So he looks at it again, and he says, "Okay, go in your mom's room and get the sewing kit."
Oh, boy.
I turned every shade of white there is, and there ain't too many shades of that, but
Your dad pulled a Rambo on you?
Oh, yeah, my dad pulled a Rambo.
Well, wasn't he Green Beret? He was military.
Yeah.
Well, he was military. He was special forces, but yeah. So
them dudes would patch themselves up in the field. They were badasses.
So I guess he saw my face and finally let me off the hook and said, no, we'll take you to the hospital. I'm like, thank you. That wasn't much better. I've never seen this before. Now, I've had stitches in the past. I had some in my head and this, that, and the other. But what they did was they took a needle and they injected all around the incision or the wound, and it blew up. You ever put a hot dog in a microwave?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, that's what my finger looked like.
Yeah,
it looked like a
little sausage.
Sausage.
Looked like a little bowling pin sticking out of your hand.
So I look. I'm watching this, and they sew it together. Well, obviously, he wasn't a plastic surgeon because the
he was a taxidermist.
Yeah, he was. You can still see it to this day. But I was like, wow, and it hurts so bad. I mean, the cut didn't hurt. The injections hurt. Just go through that again. But
you're making me cringe sitting here because I had a very similar experience back when I worked in the body shop days. Now, mind you, I worked around guys who worked with welders, who cut metal off cars, who cut frames in half. My dumbass was the only one that had the accident that year that got my name on the wall for having the employee accident because I was closing the gate.
And you're a salesman.
Yeah, and I'm also a sales guy, so I don't even touch anything. I don't touch welders or torches or anything, and I'm the idiot that had my name on the wall for employee accident number 1. I forgot what year it is, but yeah, we were closing the gate, and the gate was messed up because somebody bumped it with a car, and you had to pull it at the last second. Well, I was just a little too short that day. Oh, yeah. Well, when it broke my finger, and I remember when it happened, my guy Michi, who was the shop manager, he was on the other side of the fence, and he saw it, and all of a sudden I could just hear him as my finger was getting crushed, him go, ooh. I was like, I put my hand down at my side, and I just put it behind me, and I said, Michi. And he's like, he's like ready to puke. I'm like, Michi, stop. I'm like, you got to tell me something. He's like, what?
How bad is it?
I'm like, do I still have a finger on my hand? He's like, yeah, man, but it's just getting big. And I'm like, okay, stop. I go, is the finger attached or is it hanging? And he's like, it's just really mangly looking, and it looks like it's attached. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm like, now can you go into the shop, Michi, and get me some paper towels? He's like, yeah. He's like, do you want me to drive you to the hospital? I'm like, no. I'll get to the hospital. So I go to the hospital, and now, little tip for you, don't ever have to go to the emergency room in August, because in August is when all the little interns come in that are learning how to be doctors.
Oh.
So I get this lady wannabe doctor, and I'm like, well, first off, I'm in the emergency room at Christ, which is, it's like,
no mistake.
Oh my God, that place is just, I don't know how these people, God bless them, how they work there, because Christ Hospital is the absolute, like, zoo. So I'm sitting there, and you got, 3 people in front of you that have a sore throat and a bellyache, that are using the emergency room as their primary care doctor.
Right.
And then I'm sitting next to a guy who's like in a hospital gown holding this big plastic tube. So I'm sitting there with my hand wrapped up, and I'm looking around, and one lady's like, yeah, I've had a stomach ache for 2 hours, and I need some medicine. And it's like, oh, okay, you're one of those.
Probably have to take a shit.
And yeah, exactly. Here's an X-Lax. But I looked at this guy. I'm like, so what are you in for? He's like, oh, I just had part of my lung removed. He goes, and I put this drainage tube in, and the tube fell out. And I'm like,
and you're still sitting there.
I'm like, and you're still sitting here. Well, then they call her name. Then they call like 2 of the other bellyache nose stuffy people. Then they call me. I gave up my spot. I'm like, hey, can you please take him? I go, I know what's wrong with me. And I hold up my finger. It looks like a bowling pin. And so they took him, and he's like, hey, thank you so much. I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. I'm like, that's kind of crazy.
Hope your tube goes back in there.
So finally, I'm in the emergency room, and this lady doctor who's learning how to be a doctor, I get the fortunate of her, and she looks at me, and she's like, oh, I think it's broken. We're going to have to send you for an x-ray. I'm like, okay. I'm like, but can you do me a big favor? I'm like, can I have something for the pain? Because the pain is unreal. I'm like, this thing has been throbbing now for like 4 hours. Yeah, sure. So she comes out and brings me 2 Motrin.
Nice.
So we started off right on the wrong foot. So I looked her straight in the face and I said, you know what, lady, I'm not menstruating. My finger's fucking broke. I go, can I have like a Tylenol with codeine or some shit? She's like, well, we'll take care of you after x-ray. I'm going to have to put some numbing in there and you won't feel a thing. I'm like, all right. So they x-ray it. They figure out it's broken. And so they're going to stitch it because when it squeezed the finger, it actually blew the tip out and blew a hole through the top of my finger. So she had to stitch it. And I'm like, okay, how many stitches? And she's like, well, I don't know until I get them in there. So she did the same thing where they take the needle and they go all around the whole area and stuff, and it hurts like hell. It's really uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, this is at least we're going to get done here. Well, she's stitching it, and then she realizes she can't stitch it because it's too swollen. So she's like, I got to get the swelling down. You've got a lot of blood under your fingernail. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I go, how do you take care of that? She's like, I think there's a tool for that. And she comes back with this flashlight-looking thing with this little metal prong on the end of it. And I guess what it does is it heats up and they burn it through your fingernail to put a hole in it, and then the blood comes out, right?
Or you could take a drill bit.
Yep.
So she didn't know how to work it.
Oh, nice.
So she's walking around going, does anybody know how to turn this on? And I'm like, all right, Doc, I'm not comfortable with you doing this. I'm like, that is going to hurt like fucking hell. I'm like, that is going to really hurt for you to stick that thing through my nail. If you go too deep, you're going to probably damage my finger even more. Can I please have a doctor that knows what they're doing?
Sorry, we don't have those here.
That's pretty much what they said. They're like, well, the chief doctor is really busy right now, and there's emergency cases much more serious, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. I'm like, don't screw this up. Well, I'm sitting there with my hand out, and she does this thing, and the pain was so incredibly. I balled up a fist, and I was like, oh, I want to punch you in the face. I'm like, but I didn't, And so then, she waits, and the swelling goes down a little bit. Well, then she's got to re-inject it because the Novocaine's wearing off for the stitches. And then she puts the stitches in. And I'm like, this does not look right. And I'm looking at my hand. I'm like, this just does not look normal. This doesn't look good at all. I'm not a doctor, though, so it probably is fine. I'm like, can I get out of here, please?
But she wasn't a doctor either.
Right, she's definitely not a doctor. Hopefully she's fucking working at Starbucks because she's not a very good emergency room doctor. But so then the head doctor comes around, and he grabs my hand, and he's like, oh. He looks at her, he goes, you're going to need to take these out and redo these. You put those in way too tight. And I just looked at this bitch, and I'm like, finally, and by this time, Karen had come up to the hospital, and she was like, you are the worst patient. You cannot talk to doctors like that. You cannot. I'm like, look, she's hurting me, okay? If she's hurting me, I'm going to tell her you're hurting me. I go, she didn't even know how to use that little fucking prong tool thing.
I'll tell you what, if a doctor doesn't know what the hell they're doing, I'm going to let them know, male or female.
Then she looks at me, and she's like, I'm going to have to redo your stitches. And I'm like, please, can you do me a big favor? And she's like, yeah. I said, find another profession. You suck at this. And Karen was like mortified. And I'm like, so then she stitched my hand out. And I could tell she hated me. I hated her. But it was like one of those things that are just like, oh,
it was a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
You love to hate her.
And then I remember when I was walking out, too, because it was my middle finger that was broken. And then she put it in a sling, and she's like, well, I prescribed you some painkillers. I'm like, yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for the Motrins.
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
I'm not bleeding.
My vagina's not tender anymore.
At least you didn't get Midol.
Yeah, no shit, right? Yeah, I'm like, oh my God.
That might have helped more.
Yeah,
for the bleeding.
And I get it. I mean, a lot of people go in there and they hurt themselves just to get drugs. But yeah, this was, if I would have hurt myself like this, they would probably put me in a mental ward because it was definitely mangled. But then I go to, they're like, you need to follow up with the surgeon specialist, and blah, they give me the name and everything. So I follow up with this dude, and he looks at it. He's like, well, he goes, did you bring a ride here today? I'm like, no. He goes, well, I think I'm going to have to pin that. And I'm like, pin it? And he's like, yeah, you have a splinter fracture, which is like when your bone doesn't crack like crack. It does this. It like splinters. Right. So they have to do this and bring it all back together to heal. So I'm like, a pin? I'm like, no, you're not putting a pin. I go, what if you don't put the pin in? He goes, it's going to be deformed a little bit. He said it's going to be a little flatter than normal, and, your finger's going to look different from your other finger. And I'm like, if you put the pin in, what happens? He goes, well, it'll still be deformed a little bit because it's a splinter fracture and this, that, and the other. I go, So in other words, there's no reason to put the pin in. And he's like, well, theoretically, no, but usually we like to pin those to make sure they heal correctly. I said, well, what's the other option if there's no pin? He goes, well, a splint. I'm like, a splint like that I've had on for the last week. He's like, yeah. I'm like, and it's healing though, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, we're not pinning this. I'm like, well, no.
The difference is they get paid more money if they put a pin in.
Right,
That's
exactly.
the difference.
Exactly. He's probably going to get $5,000 for putting a pin in.
Right.
Well, that's just
and then another $3 to take it out.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then it was funny. Then I had to go for physical therapy because it was an on-the-job thing, so workman's comp gets involved in it. So then I go for physical therapy, right? And no, this was kind of funny.
How do you
because
physical therapy?
Two, because the tendon was messed up and everything. So I remember the physical therapy. I'm walking in there going like, this is a total load of bullshit that I got to go to physical therapy for a broken finger. And so the lady looks at it and she's like, oh, she goes, they didn't pin this. I'm like, should they?
They're in it together.
Yeah, I'm like, should they have? And she looks at me. She kind of like looks around, does one of these, and she goes, no. She goes, the pin would have fell out anyway. She goes, and then you got more problems because then you got to go back and get it restitched and everything. She said, how did you not get this pinned? And she's like, what doctor? And I said the doctor's name. I forgot what his name is, but she's like, oh yeah, he likes to pin everything. She goes, good for you. And so the first thing she has me do is to gain the sensitivity back in my finger. She goes, she has a bowl of rice with ball bearings in it. And I had to pick the ball bearings out of this bowl of rice. And I'm like, okay, this is some wax on, wax off kind of shit happening here. Man, I remember when I put my finger in that bowl of rice, the sensation was unreal. It was like, you talk about your nerves not getting exposed to anything because you're in this splint for like 6 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. The touch coming back, it was like, I'm a big fan of physical therapy. I mean, I know sometimes it's garbage, but I'm a big fan of it because they really like rehab my finger to where I don't have any problems, you know?
Yeah, you can't even tell.
Oh, you can if you really look at it. You can.
Oh yeah, but I mean,
but yeah, for the most part, it's pretty normal.
I'm not staring at it.
The one you look like you're pointing around a corner, but
yeah. I got.
You can barely notice it.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of stitches incidences. One was me and my cousin had the bright idea of hitting golf balls down our street. And because we found golf clubs in my grandparents' garage. So I was just like kind of chipping them, not really like whacking them down the street, right? So we stopped doing it for a while, and my cousin grabs a driver without me knowing, and he gets in front of me, and I had my back to him, and I just happened to turn around, didn't say nothing. He just fucking crushes this thing with the driver, and on the backswing, hits me right in the fucking forehead.
Ow!
Blood's coming down my face, and I chased him with a fucking 9-iron all the way around my yard into the house. He dove under the table, the kitchen table where my grandmother and my aunt and that were there, and I'm fucking swinging the golf club in the house. Louie, what are you doing? I'm going to kill fucking Bradley. That's what I'm going to do. And meanwhile, my face is covered in blood. I had to go get stitches. Another time, my buddy, this was when we were like probably 7th grade maybe. I was at my buddy's house, and they had like a little kids table outside, and we were just sitting there talking. We were planning on doing something, and his little brother always wanted to hang out with us, and we told him, no, you can't. And he was Greek, so you know how Greek like to hang their clothes on the line and do all the shit outside, right? So they had a garden hoe leaned up like this on the clothesline, and he got pissed off, and he fucking smacked it, and it bounced off the clothesline and hit me right on top of the head. And I didn't even know nothing about it until me and my buddy Terry were talking, and he's like, I think you're bleeding. Fucking went like this, and yep, sure was.
Oh, God.
But the most memorable one was when I was probably about 6. We were I think it was Memorial Day or one of those days you have a cookout. We had everybody there, all the uncles and aunts and cousins and everything. So I had this game that I played in my head, and it was the back door. When somebody walked out the back door and I was going out after them, I had to hurry up and rush and grab the door and stop it before it closed.
Wow.
So somebody walked out the door, I come running, and I hit the door, but I missed the door frame. And back then, it wasn't like plexiglass, it was glass on the screen door. and put my hand right through it, and there's the
ouch.
There's the scar. That
Nice.
was the scary one. I just walked out like it was nothing. I'm like, Ma?
Yeah.
And, of course,
Yeah.
everybody was there, the whole family, uncles, aunts, and everything. And, of course, my cousins were like, that's awesome. I'm like, not so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to
I'm going to piss out from all the gayness.
Well, when you have those moments where you look back and you're like, I need that second back. I need that millisecond back for just a bad decision.
Yeah.
Well,
Because I've made quite a few.
Well, I made quite a few this last week. My hand is screwed up from top to bottom.
What were you doing?
I
Oh,
wanna
stupid
know.
shit. So I decide that I'm going to go out and buy a new pair of sharp scissors for the garage because I need to have some sharp scissors.
I'm not allowed to play with sharp things in the house anymore. That's a whole other story.
So they're spring loaded because this hand doesn't want to cooperate with things too often. So I want the spring loaded so I can use it left hand because I'm bisexual.
Abby normal? Abby normal?
Yes, Abby normal. Ambidextrous, that's it.
That's the word.
So don't ask me why, but I had the point of the scissors
Why?
pointing back. Because I just told you not to ask me why. But I had the nose of the scissors here and the handle out here, and I was closing it. Well, this hand didn't want to cooperate, so this one decided to help. Well, when it helped, I closed it and cut my hand right through. Okay. So I dropped the scissors, walk into the house. Walk. I didn't run because I'm too old to run.
I don't move fast.
I'd probably break something. So I go through the house, and the first thing my wife says to me is, "What did you do this time?" Well, that's not a help. Get some Band-Aids and lots of hot soapy water.
Yeah.
So I'm over there, I'm washing it out, and I'm looking at it. This thing I put the no bleed on it. I put no bleed Band-Aids, and it was bleeding right through all that stuff. It would not stop.
You hit something.
So finally I decided, okay, well, I'm just going to keep pressure on it for about a half hour. I kept pressure on it. I moved fast enough to put a Band-Aid tight and got that to finally stop. So it's been a week now, and it's still not healed. So just 2 days ago, once again, this forefinger is a motherfucker. I am working on something with a screwdriver. And I was tightening the screw up, and I was putting a lot of pressure on it. So much pressure that I slipped off the screw and put the screwdriver into my hand. Now, that wasn't the bad part. The bad part is
Taking
the
it out.
screwdriver has a magnetic tip. So I pulled the screwdriver away, and the tip was still in my hand. And I buried it probably down to here.
Oh, yikes.
Okay. I look at it and went, oh, there's still the screwdriver tip in my finger. So I pull it out. I squeeze everything back together, and I go put a Band-Aid on it. Well, I put the Band-Aid on because I was working so hard on this hand, on this first cut. I put the Band-Aid on so tight that when I woke up the next morning, my finger was so swollen, black and blue and everything else, because it had no circulation.
Oh, jeez.
I couldn't move my hand, anything. I was like, what the hell's going on? So finally I just took the Band-Aid off, let the circulation through.
And it went.
Well, no, it did. The surprising thing is this didn't hardly have any blood because I closed everything up. It was just a puncture.
Oh.
So it wasn't really too bad with the blood, but the pain for a whole day was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm going to get lockjaw because I thought, maybe, the bad McDang.
Tetanus shot. Get your tetanus shot.
But yeah, that's 2 cuts on that hand, and then pulling the damn blower vac thingy, I ripped up my hand on this side, got like 3 or 4 blisters. This week has not been good for my hands.
People don't realize like hand injuries really do suck, especially if it's your dominant hand. Like I'm right-handed, I broke the finger on my right hand. So, they tell you, they're like, don't use your hand. Keep it wrapped. Don't use it. Don't get it wet in the shower. Don't wipe your ass with it. Don't do any of that. You can't do anything. And I was miserable. And I was like really like 3 weeks in it, I was like pissy. I was like in a really bad mood. And people would be like, why are you in such a bad mood? It's just a broken finger. And I'd look at them straight in the face and I'd say, you know what? Go home tonight and wipe your ass with your other hand. Just do it, and then call me and tell me how happy you are.
Especially when you have to clean your fingernails off.
They were like,
it feels like a different person.
Oh, Ed, no, it's not. About 9:30, my phone would ring, or I'd get a text message. I'm so sorry, man.
You're right. So it's impossible.
You're right. This is miserable.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You got to do that for like 3 weeks. I'm like, yep.
Even being ambidextrous, I'm telling you, it's rough because I screw up both hands.
Oh, God.
I just can't do one at a time. I got to screw up both.
That's when Ed's favorite thing comes into play, the bidet.
The bidet.
Yeah, but I couldn't even turn the handle on the bidet to fucking wash my ass
off.
off.
You get the portable bidets from Amazon. There's travel bidets.
Use a foot pedal.
Yeah.
You're a drummer. get the double pump, the double bass.
Oh, God, yeah. You get yourself one of them portable bidets, man.
You'd never get out.
They actually even sell, because now that I went down the bidet rabbit hole,
oh, God.
They actually, I'm like, what am I going to do if I go camping? So I go on Amazon, right? Well, they sell a little attachment that goes right onto a water bottle and turns your water bottle into a portable bidet.
Yeah, I can.
And then after that, you could take it off and have a drink out of it.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Here's what I'll do: I'll drill a bunch of little holes in the bottle of the fucking bottle top and just.
Yeah. Yep. So if we're camping and you hear me in the bathroom or in the woods and you hear like this crinkling of plastic, means I'm taking a dump. Don't come by.
I know not to reuse.
Does a bear shit in the woods?
Yep,
there he is.
Bear just shit in the woods.
Not to reuse any of Ed's water bottles.
Yeah, that's the other thing because you get drip off.
Oh yeah, yeah. But yep.
I want to know about the 3 seashells. Three
seashells. I looked that up. I've Googled that, and there's no information about that whatsoever. I'm curious too.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a real thing.
Yeah, but it's intriguing. They started it. It's like there should be. We want answers, people. We want answers.
How many people out there actually know what the 3 seashells are?
Yep. Put in the comments section, if this is on YouTube or whatever, put in the comments, what were the 3 seashells used for?
Oh, we're going to get so much bullshit on that.
But I want to know. Here's the thing. I want to know how many people actually even know what the hell we're talking about.
So first of all, if you know what we're talking about, write that in the comments. Then, if you know what the seashells actually do and how you use them, then write that in the comments.
Yeah, because I'm curious. I am curious.
Yeah,
that is crazy stuff. Yeah, sharp implements I'm not allowed to play with them in my house.
What really sucks with me is when I get cut on my hand, it's in the most stupidest fucking place and the most
painful.
It's in.
I gotta bend it.
It doesn't have to be on either hand or whatever to be it'll be on a knuckle to where you can't really put a Band-Aid on it, or it's on the tip of your fucking finger.
The most painful is when you get in the webbing between your finger. The most painful cut ever.
Yeah, I stabbed my hand there once, too.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's paper cuts for me between my fingers.
Well, Idiot Boy here
especially at Executive.
Yeah, I put a knife through my foot.
Dumbass.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, just a few years ago. Not even.
Yeah, it was.
Did it go through your pink crock?
No, I was in my office, and it was a Microtech Ultratech, which is a really nice knife, really sharp knife.
Obviously.
And I was opening a package, and I opened the package, and I sliced, and as I sliced, the knife came out of my hand, and would be like if I just went right into my foot, and it literally.
I remember that because you were supposed to be coming over or something.
Yeah, it literally was sticking out of my foot, and I just looked down, and I had a sock on. I had a white sock.
Not anymore.
And it just like just turned red.
You Kurt Schilling that thing?
Ah, fuck. So I went into the bathroom, and like your dad, warm soapy water.
Yep.
I put it under the warm soapy water. Well, that wasn't working. Now, mind you, okay, I am a over a 300-pound man standing in my bathroom in my pajama pants with one leg rolled up in my bloody sock. With a knife sticking out of my... Well, no, I took the knife out of my foot. That was actually funny because it was
never supposed to take it out.
It was like... Yeah, it even made that noise. It made a little slurping noise when it came out of my foot.
First it went...
Yeah, it was
and then it went...
So, I'm in there, and then I'm like, oh, shit, I'm getting a leg cramp now because, I'm trying to balance with my foot in a sink, trying to get the warm, soapy water. So I'm like, I'll just do it in the shower. So I turn on the shower water, and then I'm standing there, and, I'm trying to stop the bleeding, which won't stop. Abby comes walking out of her bedroom, which is right across from the bathroom. And she sees, like, the blood all over the floor, like, from when I walked from the office to the bathroom. Now, we got a white tile, white tub, white tile on the floor. Well, it looks like
Psycho.
Somebody got murdered. And she sees, like, this blood coming out of my foot as I'm holding my foot up to the soffit. And she's like, Dad, what did you do? And I'm like, it's okay, Abs. I kind of cut my foot a little bit. Well, she freaks out, screams, calls Karen. Karen comes running out. Karen's like, what the hell did you do? And I'm like, I cut my foot.
You're bleeding all over my bathroom.
I'm like, just how do I stop the bleeding? You're a nurse. How do I stop the bleeding? And she looks at my foot. She's like, with stitches. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing stitches. I'm like, get some of that bleed stop or whatever. So she calls 911 because it would not stop bleeding. So they came out. They put some shit on it. It stopped bleeding. They packed it really good. And they're like, yeah, you need to go to the emergency room. You need stitches. There's no way around this one. You're going to need stitches. So Karen did the gangbanger drop at the emergency room and drove me up there, and because they were real cool. The fire department guys were like, do you want us to take you by ambulance? You'll get in a little faster. And I'm like, nah. I'm like, I would feel terrible. I'm like, I'm stupid. I did this to myself.
It would cost you like $2,000.
No, they don't charge you in Ridge. They don't charge you if you're a resident for an ambulance ride. It's
really?
It's part of your taxes.
Huh.
So I'm like, cool. It's fine, I'm like, I'll give me, and they're like, you need to make sure you go tonight. Don't wait till the morning because that bandage is going to get sopped up. I'm like, okay. So she does a gangbanger drop. I sat there for 11 fucking hours before I finally got seen to get my stitches.
Should have took the ambulance.
Yeah. I'm like this. Well, no, actually, what happens is okay. This is emergency medicine in our country. Okay, I got there not soon enough. For the little department upstairs that does stitches, closes down from 11 at night till 7 in the morning.
Oh, Jesus.
So I had to sit there for like 11 hours before I finally... And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, this is bullshit. My phone is dying, you know what I mean? Nobody's coming to change my bandage, the whole shot. I got this homeless guy looking for drugs that's like just really being a pain in the ass. And he stunk so bad. He literally... smelled anywhere he would go, there would be this odor for like 15 minutes. His BO was that bad. And he was just, it wouldn't be, you know what? And hey, if you're a homeless person, man, I'll do anything I can to help you. But this guy claimed he got hit by a car, but yet he kept walking outside to have a cigarette. Then he walked outside, went to 7-Eleven to get himself some food. So he's sitting there having like a full buffet, full on menu meal. And like he's pissing everybody off because he won't shut up and he knows everything. He's one of those guys that knows everything about everything. And the doctors, he was a frequent flyer, so they knew him. And it was pretty crazy. So then finally I'm like, you know what? If I'm not going to see anything, I'm like, I'm getting pissed. And so I was going to the bathroom. Finally I'm like, you know what? What are they going to do? Kick me out of here? So I took my vape in the bathroom, and I'm vaping in the bathroom. I'm being blown into my shirt, so, it's not setting off the alarm. But I'm splotching blood all over the floor.
I would have been doing the can and just kicking my feet everywhere.
Yeah. So it finally got to the point after like 10 hours, I was like splotch, 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 splotch all over. I splotched up. I'm like, am I going to be seen anytime today? Splotch, 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 splotch. 45 minutes later, splotch, 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 back up. I'm like, they're like, sir, you're getting blood all over the emergency room. I'm like, no fucking shit. Maybe if you stitched my fucking foot, I wouldn't be bleeding anymore, right?
I am in the hospital.
I'm like, when am I going to run out of blood? Did you ever think of that, genius? So
hopefully soon.
Yeah, I'm like, this is just stupid.
I just want to pass out right now.
So then I get upstairs, and I'm a compassionate person. Well, this lady comes in with a big old eye patch on. Her side of her head looks like it's fucking mangled, and so I'm looking at her, and I'm like, okay, you need stitches too. So it's going to be a race to like who's going to get their stitches first. But I feel like a jag because I got a hole in my foot. Your face is fucked. I'm like, you are. So I hear the guy there. Like finally, it's like 7:30 in the morning. They're like, we're going to take the two of you upstairs now for your stitches. And we're both like, so we're on the way up there. And I looked at her. I go, if I can ask, I said, what happened? And she goes, I'm a teacher, and I was teaching a night class and watching autistic kids, and one of them hit me in the face with a bottle. And I was like, oh. I'm like, is your eye okay? She's like, I don't know. They didn't take the patch off. I'm like, you make sure they take you before me. So then I'm sitting there even longer. But I felt okay about that because that was my choice. And I was like, get this lady taken care of. Thank God she didn't lose her sight. She seemed like a nice lady. But, yeah, an autistic kid, she was a teacher, hit her in the face with a glass bottle or a glass or a cup or something.
Wow.
But so then they get to me, and now my foot is like, it looks like a foot with a brain. It was like, so when they take this bandage off, I looked at my foot. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the hell? So the guy looks at my foot and he goes, you were the guy that's been sitting here since like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, this is going to hurt. He goes, that's all clotted in there. He goes, I got to get all that out before we start stitching. And I'm like, well, how do we get that out? Do we have to slice it or something? He's like, no, it's already got a hole in it. I got to get it out through the hole.
Vacuum.
So yeah, it was like popping a giant zit. It was nasty.
Oh, damn.
So then finally he stitches it up, but that opened Pandora's box. Then I had to go in for another medical procedure for a completely unrelated issue that was uncovered by this, and it was just like it was the summer of fun. So
and then Karen put his name on the wall for being the one person that had an accident.
yeah, the one person that had the accident in the house.
Well, I've got thousands of hospital stories, but right before I got on the sheriff's department, we were trimming out a house in Lockport. Not that that matters, but so it was a big home, and it had a lot of windows, and we were doing all the trim and all the cabinets in this house. Oops, excuse me. And there was one window that was about 15 feet in the air, and it had to be trimmed out. Well, my partner was, or is, I don't, maybe not anymore, but he was handicapped. He had a 3.5 inch lift on his boot, and so going up the ladder he can do it, but it was rough for him. So I took the window job, and the top of the window was 23 feet in the air. So I'm on the ladder and I'm trimming out the top, and you put the top on first and then you do the sides and come to the bottom. Well, got all that done. Everything's going well. I was having a bad day as it was because whoever the idiot was that delivered the trim work put it all on the concrete floor. Well, carpenters know that if you put wood on a concrete floor, it sucks the moisture out of that wood so fast. And the pieces of wood that I was using, they were bone dry, and every time I'd cut one, it would just shatter all over. So every time I'm cutting a piece, this thing is just, they're shattering, and I'm getting more and more angry.
What is it, the lime from the concrete sucks the moisture out?
Just the concrete itself, it doesn't. I
did not know that.
Yeah, it will suck the moisture out of everything.
You learn something new on the Not Podcast every time you listen.
So I'm having a bad day. Well, my partner is in the bedrooms doing the trim work, and every time on the saw, motherfucker, son of a bitch, God damn. So I'm on the ladder, and I'm nailing the last piece in. Well, I'm trying to nail the bottom of the trim, going through the bottom trim into the side trim, and I had my hand up at the top, and of course anytime the moisture gets sucked out of the wood, so does the shape will change too, so it gets warped, which is a term that isn't proper, but it is what it does. It warps, and I'm trying to straighten it out as I'm going, and I'm pushing with my thumb on the side of the jamb, and I'm pulling the trim in, and I shoot the nail, and I let go of the trim, and it didn't stay in place.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Son of a bitch! I missed the wood. I'm looking all over for the nail. It's going through my finger.
Oh, jeez.
Now my hand was a foot away from the nail, and it went right through the side of my finger. So I climbed down the ladder, and I haven't felt it yet. It hasn't kicked in that it's gone through my hand. And I'm looking all over the place for my nail pullers. Well, I can't find them. So Pat, my partner, is in one of the bedrooms on the second floor, and he's laughing because he thinks I just cut another piece of wood and it's shattered, and it's just making. So he yells down.
Well, it's your finger.
Yeah. Well, he goes, "What happened? You blow another piece of wood up?" I said, "No." And I'm walking up to him, and I said, "Give me your nail pullers." He's like, "Oh, you nailed something wrong." I said, "No, I got it nailed straight through." And he looks at my hand, and I've got this 2.5-inch trim nail going through my finger, completely through. Oh. So he's like, "What do you want my nail pullers for?" "Well, I want to get the nail out."
I'm going to pull the nail.
Duh.
So as he's handing me the pullers, he passes out.
Nice.
So I snip the end of the one end of the nail, and then I pull it through the other side. Well, I don't want to have to pull a whole 1.5 inches through, so I go downstairs and I get some water, and I spring it on him.
Nice.
Wake up, fool. I said, "Are you okay?" He goes, "What the fuck did you just do?" I said, "Well, I pulled the nail out of my hand." He goes, "Okay, well, we'll go to the hospital." I go, "I don't need the hospital. You do."
Yeah.
And then when I wrapped that all up and everything was fine, but then I, started like 2 days later, I had to start the sheriff's department. Oh. Starting the academy. So that was rough. But years before that, my dad used to own a wood shop, and he had me in there cutting walnut boards down for milling to get milled for flooring. That was his specialty, was walnut flooring. He was out of 5 companies in the country that supplied walnut flooring. He was one of them. So I was cutting it down to size to get milled, and he left and went to another shop to go visiting because, that was what he did, and I worked. He visited it. So I'm in the shop, and I'm cutting on this table saw, and I've been cutting I cut for 8 hours a day before, and now I'm on about 5 or 6 hours cutting, and it's tedious, just constantly ripping these boards down. Well, I got loopy, and I saw a knot in the wood, and I knew what was going to happen before it happened, but I did it anyway. As I got to the knot, the board started to flop. Well, I let go, and when I let go, the piece that was flopping broke off at the knot, got hit by the saw, and it sent it into my stomach. It hit me with all kinds of force.
Oof.
So it knocked me back, and I just kind of shook it off, and then I looked down, and I had this 7 or 8 inch board sticking out of my shirt. And I reached down to turn the saw off, and I came up and I felt a tug on my shirt, and it wasn't in my shirt, it was in my stomach.
Oh.
So right away I panicked. I pulled the board out, and then I went to find my father, which was across the field. So I went across this field, went over to my dad and said, "Dad, I think I need to go to the hospital. I got hit in the stomach with this walnut." So he looks at it and he says, "Yeah, we got to go." Well, New Lenox at the time doesn't have a hospital.
Wash it with soapy water.
Right.
Yeah.
Get the soapy water.
So we go to this, I guess, some type of emergency clinic that they have out there. And they have me on the operating table, and the doctor says, "Okay, well, we got to get all this wood out because it just shattered. It just, broke in 1,000 pieces." So he's out there picking all the slivers out, basically. And the smallest piece was probably 1 inch long. The rest of them were 3-4 inches,
Oh.
And he says to my dad, "I have a problem with one of them." He says, "Your son's muscles are holding on to it." So it got jammed in there. And he says, "I'm going to have to get on top of the table and just pull it out with pliers, and, you're going to have to try help holding them down." My dad says, okay, time out. He says, let me talk to you in the hallway for a minute. So he takes the doctor out in the hallway, and he's talking to him. And I'm laying there wondering what the hell's going on. Now, I'm numbed up, so I really don't feel anything.
Yeah, Dad's trying to talk him into loosening it up with warm, soapy water.
No, my dad was informing him that if he does not get all the wood out, that naturally walnut is highly toxic.
Oh, shit. That's not good.
Yeah, I guess it's extremely toxic, and the toxicity with that word can pretty much kill me.
Toxicity, yeah.
Yeah. So he made the doctor aware of that, and the doctor worked with haste in order to get that out. And they ended up having to do minor surgery, cutting around everything and making sure every shard of that walnut was taken out of my stomach. And I'm still here. So obviously he did a good job. That was probably the worst tool-related injury that I ever had.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you win.
Yeah, you win. You win. I ain't even going to touch that.
I got a nail story, but it ain't nothing like that.
Yeah. I did this stigmata thing to my hand when I worked in the produce department at Cub Foods. I was these South American produce cases used to come. They weren't like cardboard boxes. They were like nailed boxes of like shitty wood that they found, and they just packed your fruit in it and sent it to America. And I was unloading a truck, man, and a nail came, and it just went right through my hand, and it was like, oh, shit. And then when I went to take it off, like I was, your instinct is to like pull your hand free. Well, the whole board came off of the crate, and it was like stuck to my hand. So I walked into the office. Our manager, his name was Rich. He was a total douchebag. And I'm like, Rich, I think I need to go to urgent care. He's like, what now? And he turns around, and I'm holding my hand up, and there's a board on this side of my hand and a nail sticking out about 2 inches on the other side of my hand. And I'm like, I'm having a Jesus moment. And he looks at me. He's like, get yourself to the emergency clinic, which I found out now. I could sue the shit out of Cub Foods because they should have called an ambulance or drove me there.
Right.
That I'm driving myself to the hospital with a piece of wood sticking, a nail and a piece of wood in my hand. So I clean it. They clean it out, and it was no big deal. They had to do the irrigation thing to make sure no scrap. And I'm like, they're like, it's nothing serious. You're going to be fine. And I'm like, you know what? I'm really worried about, like, this is from South America and what kind of shit was on that nail, And they're like, don't worry. We're going to benzine it out of you. We're going to give you antibiotics. You're going to be fine. So they tell me, they're like, well, you're off work for at least a week.
Oh,
they
darn.
were so busy they wouldn't let me take the week off.
But told
They
them
were
to
like,
get bent.
oh, you need to come back to work or you're terminated. And I'm like, what? I'm like, but I got a doctor's note and I have a hole in my hand. And they're like,
could have sued him for that too.
they're like, yeah, back in the day, you didn't sue. I mean,
Yeah, did.
Yeah. I should have gotten legal counsel on that one.
Well, that sounds like when I was a young carpenter. Actually, I was a laborer. I wasn't even a carpenter yet. So what they would do to get you training for being a journeyman is they would have you do menial tasks outside of just laying lumber out for the carpenters, like putting cripples in and taking cripples out, at the end of the job.
Go and get the level bubble water.
Right. So I was tasked with removing all the cripples out of all the doorways, and somehow, and I still kind of confused about it to this day, but somehow a nail got stuck underneath one of the cripples and was pointing out from the side of the cripple. Well, in order to get the cripple out, you take your hammer and you just knock the cripple out, and there are only like 2 or 3 nails in it, so it's not really hard to do. But I went to do that at the bottom, and when I did, my finger went through, or the nail that was sticking up went through my finger and into my hammer handle. So I'm stuck with my finger, with a nail going through my finger and my finger nailed to my hammer handle. And the hammer I'm talking about. I have a 28-ounce framing hammer.
Which they don't make anymore.
Right. And by Vaughn, I believe it was. Something like that. But anyway.
Things like the fucking hammer that Thor carries.
So
that's funny.
My boss says, hey, come on, let's go. We're almost done. I said, Danny, I said, I need your claw. And he looked at me. He says, what are you talking about? I says, I need your claw. And he's like, why do you need? I said, bring you and your claw here. So he looks and he sees my hand. He says, why are you holding your hand there? I said, I'm not. I'm nailed to the wall. And he goes, what? He goes, can you let go of the hammer? No. He goes, why? I go, because it's nailed to my hand. He says, oh, okay. So he took the head of the hammer, or the handle of the hammer, put his claw behind my finger, and pried my finger off with the hammer. And then I was able to let go of the... Yeah.
Jesus.
So I had a hole through my finger, my bone, and the nail, and my hammer handle.
Yep, you win again.
That is crazy.
First and second.
Crazy. I think we're going to call this this podcast Stories from the ER. Yeah. I think we found a title, Stories from the ER.
Most of my stuff, I never had to go to the hospital. Or
started on baseball.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I used to get injured every freaking season, man, when I coached. Every season, something bad would happen to me. Like, it would be like a shot to the head, a broken shin bone once.
Well, your guys must have really liked you as a coach.
Oh, man. No, they were girls. I coached females. They were, well, it started in 8U when I played the coach's game, and I'm like, oh, I can't flub this up. I gotta hit a big bomb, you know. And I hadn't played since I was I was 48, and I had not played since I was probably 30, 31, and so I go up to bat the first time, and it was just like they're arcing them in, you know how they you know, and I was a baseball player, so I'm used to like regular pitching, so they're arcing these in, and I'm like, oh, I forgot how to hit these. So I was talking to one of the other coaches, and she told me how to hit it. So the next time up at bat, man, I smacked the shit out of that ball. It went way out to the fence, right? So I'm rounding first, and you know, you got something building momentum and speed this large. I'm rounding first, right? And as soon as my foot hit the bag, I just felt everything in my ankle just collapse. And I was like, oh, this isn't good. So I finally get to second. I get to third, what should have been a home run, but at that point, my foot was flaming. I end up going to see my doctor the next day,
flaming.
It was flaming. It was flaming. It was on
He's
fire.
a flamer.
Yeah.
It's on fire.
It was crazy. So I go to my foot doctor, who was actually on my softball team when I played in my 30s. And he's like, what did you do? And I'm like, you don't want to know.
I ran.
So he does the x-rays and stuff on it, and he's like, well, he goes, I got to ask you seriously, what did you do? And I'm like, it was a coach's game. I was playing softball. He goes, you're too fucking old to be playing softball. I'm like, I know. I know that now. Play. I'm like, how bad is it? He's like, you tore everything in there. He goes,
nice.
He goes, you're going to be in a boot for quite some time. And I was like, oh, boy. So then he looks at me straight in the face. He goes, was it worth it? And I'm like, yeah, it was. It was a good hit. So I ended my career with a triple.
And a tore up
foot.
Nice.
A flaming foot.
Yeah. Then I got
a flamer.
I was pitching to one of my girls who was a rock star hitter, and my foot must have been out of the cage, and she hit me right in the shin. 3 days later, my whole foot turned black. I mean, black is my shirt black. And I was in the shower, and it was, as luck would have it, you know, sometimes the health gods smile on you. My wife's niece, or my wife's cousin, is a foot doctor. She had just stopped by the house to just come visit, and I come walking up out of the shower, and I'm like, Brody, I gotta show you my foot. I go, something bad happened, and I think my foot has got gangrene or some shit. And she's like, show me. You know, she got all concerned because, you know, you mentioned gangrene. I'm like, it's turning black. And she's like, did you have an injury to like your leg or something recently? And I'm like, yeah, I got hit with a ball. And she's like, yeah. She goes, you probably broke the bone, and that's all the blood settling in the bottom of your foot.
Go.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do? But yeah. Well, I think, hey, we got to wrap it up because I got a disaster call while we were sitting here.
Well, this is a disaster.
Yeah. Well, we're an hour. We're into a good podcast tonight. Well, we're going to call this episode 1, Tales from the ER.
And baseball.
And baseball has been very, 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 very hurtful to me.
baseball has been very, very bad for me.
I almost had one of my eyes put out.
Nice.
I can't tell you how many concussions I had from getting smacked with either bats or balls.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was a good one, guys.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
And Louis has to pee.
Yes.
See, we're old. We're a bunch of old farts.
What's going on now? Holy shit.
Yeah, I could tell he's dancing. He's doing a wiggle. All
doing
right,
the dancing
signing
McGregor.
off. Podcast number 1 in the books. Nighty night, everybody.